Hey, folks, welcome to Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. My name is Garry Thurman, founder and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen to us on the radio and or watch us on Facebook or YouTube Live. We appreciate it. We did a little promo video for our show yesterday. Bobby and I did, and got a lot of attention from you guys. So I hope we have a lot of folks tuning in this morning live on Facebook or YouTube. But if you're listening to us on one of the many radio stations throughout the Southeast, thank you so much. And we're going to have a fun show today. So I was trying to think about doing something different today, guys. And I actually watched a podcast, or I didn't watch a podcast. I listened to a podcast the other day.
A lot of them doing video now.
Well, they are, but
yeah.
I was actually driving, so I wasn't listening.
Allegedly.
And the title of it was Ask the Pros. And it had nothing to do with retirement planning, but I thought, well, that's kind of a cool concept. So it was a gentleman, and he had 2 or 3 guests on there, and they were all professionals in that particular subject. And I thought, man, that'd be a fun radio show. So today we're going to be asking the pros, and I want you guys to imagine that myself and Tim and Bobby are just sitting at the kitchen table or sitting around in the living room with you, and we're just taking your questions and answering them to the best of our ability. Now, some of these questions are going to have to do with retirement planning. Some of them are not. They're going to be random, fun questions. So we're just going to try to make this show fun today. I do want to let you know how to reach out to us here in our Chattanooga office. Come in and see Tim and Bobby, 423-710-9199. Up in Knoxville, come see Brogan Walters, 865-951-7526. And as always, we give out my book, Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. All you have to do is scan the QR code at the bottom of your screen or go to plantodayoffer.com, plantodayoffer.com, and we'll send the book right out to you. All right, guys, let's have a little fun today. We're going to just jump around if you guys don't mind. Tim McDermott, how you doing this morning?
Fantastic. Can't complain. Life's good.
Life is good.
I could use some more. I know it sounds crazy, but I want some more of that rain. My grass is loving it. So.
Oh, yeah. We've gotten a lot of rain. Bobby, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Yeah. I'm doing
Is
really
your
well.
little boy sleeping anymore now?
Sleeping better.
Good.
He's sleeping better. We're getting back to what was normal, but man, with a 4-month-old, it was a rough go for 3 or 4 weeks, man.
I feel like that's the weekly question. I walk in and I'm like, "You sleep any better this week?"
Yeah.
I can always tell when Bobby's had sleep and not had sleep. He's got a little chip in his step most days. Some days he doesn't have that chip in his step.
They quit asking why I take 2-hour lunch breaks and sleep in the truck or in the parking lot.
Where's Bobby? He's upstairs. He's upstairs taking a nap. Oh, man, sleeping is good for us, so we need that. Guys, I want to start with the question that I asked Bobby yesterday. So, Tim, I'm starting with you this morning on our promo for the show today. What do you think is the number one question folks ask when they come in to see you and Bobby here in Chattanooga? Somebody just starting the process for retirement planning, they've already retired, or they're 1 year out. What do you think that number one question is?
How do I not run out of money? Is usually the synopsis of what they're trying to get to, right?
Yeah.
They want to make sure that they've got the income to take care of them and their lifestyle for the rest of their lives. And then a lot of folks want to leave something back to their kids
Legacy
as well.
benefit. And then, Bobby, your answer was what?
Yeah, my answer was similar. It's, do I have enough money to retire?
Sure.
Which is kind of another way of going about that. And that's really, we love when people ask that question because it just opens the door to that conversation we like to have with all of our
Absolutely.
clients.
So what do you guys see as the, give me 2, 3, 4 top concerns? Bobby, I'll start with, what is keeping people up at night when it comes to retirement planning?
Inflation's one of them.
Okay.
Right? It's got to be a big one, right? Everybody's seen that a lot more in recent history than I guess they have in a long while. They've seen prices go up, and they just wonder, if I've got X amount to retire on, is that going to be enough in 15, 20 years when prices are a lot higher than they are now?
So it's funny you brought up inflation. This is Monday's Wall Street Journal. Inflation metrics to change at a crucial time. Sounds like inflation might be going back up a little bit, guys.
Yeah, and there's some tomfoolery that the federal government can do with that. There's a lot of different inflation metrics, right, that they use, and they can include certain things, exclude certain things. So it's important to make sure that when you hear an inflation number, it covers all the important things that most households spend.
Okay.
Because they can include energy, they can exclude energy.
Food,
gas, right?
Yeah.
Just right now, including or excluding energy is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Now, guys, correct me if I'm wrong. Is there not a few things they do not include in those inflation metrics?
Depends on what you're looking at. Most commonly, you're going to see CPI.
Right.
That's if you've heard that term on the talking head shows. That's pretty all-inclusive. You're going to see just about everything included there. That's kind of the number I would go by. PPI is more of a indicator of what's to come.
Okay.
Over the CPI.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and to get nerdy, right? One's the consumer price index, CPI, right? That's what you and I spend as consumers, as individuals.
Versus the producer.
Yeah, PPI is producer price index. So
I like that.
That includes a lot of stuff that are like inputs to businesses.
You saw where that really became an effective indicator is when tariffs started to hit.
Yeah.
PPI became kind of a leading indicator to say, hey, you're going to see this hit your wallet here pretty soon.
And
Yeah,
it
that's
did.
right. Because if PPI increases, right, it gets more expensive to the people that are building
That's
and
right.
doing the services for us.
Gotcha.
And an often amount of times, those producers will actually pass the costs on.
All right, so inflation's one. Tim, you kind of answered this in the number one question people ask, but give me some other concerns.
Yeah, income planning, of course. Everybody wants to make sure that their income is taken care of and set up for life. That's going to include inflation, what
Sure.
Bobby's talking about, right? But they want to make sure there's a plan. And I find that it's most people are visual learners, right? And so having something written out and shown to them helps them kind of grasp that concept.
I love that.
And it makes it a little bit easier to
So
understand.
lifestyle is included in that income planning too, correct?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that, if you guys want to take those vacations for the first 5, 6, 7, 10 years, if you guys, want to make sure that, you can get a new car 4 or 5 years down the road, that's included. The more information you give us, the more accurate of a model we can kind of put together for you.
Yeah. So if I'm going back to, I'm going to say my last 10 conversations with clients, either here in Chattanooga or up in Knoxville, I think one of the biggest topics now or concerns or worries is healthcare. Healthcare talking about inflation. I mean, healthcare continues to rise. The cost is going up. We're living longer. Had a conversation with a gentleman just yesterday, and this guy's pretty awesome. He owns a home health service, so he helps people when they get sick. He's got about 200 employees. I mean, he's got a big business.
Yeah.
But he was talking about his mother. His mother's 99 years old.
Good for her.
And he says, Gary, I got to fly to Virginia because mom's having surgery. I'm like, oh, no, what's going on? They're actually going to go, they're not going to open her up, but they're going to do a procedure to try to help her veins open up a little more inside of her heart. And I said, and
It's amazing.
I just asked the
99.
question. I said, at 99? I mean, he goes, hey, look, she still drives. She still takes care of herself. My father's already passed away. And she says, if this gives me 2 or 3 more good years of life, that I can enjoy you and the grandkids and stuff. And I said, do you think she's healthy enough to do this? He said, they're not putting her to sleep.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
but I thought that's interesting. I thought, man, that kind of ties into what we talk about all the time. Longevity risk is a real thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So-
And people are doing everything they can to extend it, too, right?
That's
to your
right,
point,
yeah.
right?
Better medicine, better technology. And what's one other thing, Bobby? I mean, something that comes to my mind. We were talking about a video series me and Tristan just started working on, and I'll throw it out there to you. I don't think people really think enough about future taxes.
Yeah, without a doubt. Right, taxes are a huge one. The government has just recently crossed $39.5 trillion in debt.
Yep.
And the only way that we can pay that debt off is by tax revenues, right?
Yeah.
And I've got a Wall Street Journal here article here that says big deficits stir risk in bond market. What people don't realize a lot of the time is half the problem is when Treasury bills and Treasury bonds come due, the government doesn't pay a lot of those off with cash.
Yep.
They refinance their debt.
They reissue more treasuries.
Right. It's like you would refinance your house. You're not going to go just pay your house off and refinance. You get a new loan to
Yep.
pay the old loan off at better rates. Usually that's why you do it. Here's the problem with what's going on right now with the bond markets is when the debt was issued during COVID and during the pandemic, it was a super low rate initially, right?
Right.
Now it's coming due and they got to refinance at current rates.
So would you refinance your house if you refinanced it in 2020 and got a 3%, interest rate? Would you go out and refinance it now for the interest rate?
I don't think
Probably
so.
not.
No, right? But they're kind of forced
The
to.
government's going to be forced to do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, these are just some of the things that maybe you're asking yourself, or maybe these are some of the concerns you have. You're a pre-retiree, you're stepping into retirement, or maybe you just retired, or maybe you're 3 to 4 years into retirement, and you're still worried about these things. That's why we invite everyone to come in and see us, because the complimentary conversation we're going to have with you guys, there's no risk, there's no fee, there's no cost. When I say it's free, it's free. Come in and see Tim and Bobby here in Chattanooga, 423-710-9199. Go up and see Brogan in Knoxville, 865-951-7526. Have this conversation. Start asking these questions to the pros so that we can start putting a plan together for you. As always, we'd like to give you the opportunity to get a copy of my book, Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. You can go to plantodayoffer.com, plantodayoffer.com, fill out the information. We'll get in touch with you. We'll send the book right out to you. Or you can text those same two numbers. You can text the word book. Chattanooga, 423-710-9199. Knoxville, 865-951-7526. And when we come back, I'm going to turn the tables on the guys a little bit, and I'm going to ask them what are the biggest mistakes they are seeing as people are planning for their retirement. We'll be right back.
Every year, taxes are handled the same way. You earn income, the year ends, and you file a return. That trains us to look at taxes through a rearview mirror. Retirement taxes do not always work that way. Qualified retirement accounts are generally taxed based on future income decisions and future tax rates. Once those decisions are made, flexibility may be limited. That's why tax planning often works best when done proactively, before decisions are locked in. Visit plantodaytaxbill.com or scan the QR code to use our free tax calculator and see what that potential tax liability on your qualified retirement assets could look like based on your current assumptions.
Welcome back to Plan Today on Tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in on the radio, on Facebook, or on YouTube. We appreciate all of you guys. Again, throwing out those phone numbers, Chattanooga, 423-710-9199. Knoxville, 865-951-7526. Come in and see us, guys. It's absolutely complimentary, and we can help you with these questions. Tim, I'm going to jump on you for a second here.
Come on over.
Jump on. Jump over the table, Gary. What is the biggest mistake people make when building a retirement plan?
I think there's a few, and I'm going to call it lack of building a retirement plan probably. But it's usually going to boil back to we see people hyper-focus on the investment side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's led a lot of times by the advisory group that you're with.
I agree.
And their focus is on growing the money. This is great. This is really important, right? I want you to grow your money. If you're making investments, you're making investments to make money, right? But it can't be the only thing that you look at. We are an investment planning firm, right? Not just an investment group.
Oh, I like that.
And so we plan around all these different things. You've heard our radio show. You know what we're talking about, right? We're talking about the income plan, long-term care, the health care, the taxes and inflation and everything else that goes along with it. But the planning has to be the focus of what we're doing. Planning for that income, planning for that inflation, planning for the what ifs, planning for the unknowns that are going to happen, down the road, and then the investment portion needs to match that plan.
Yeah, that's a huge point, right? And people come in and say, often people ask, what kind of returns does your firm get? We've got that data, right? But it really just depends on what your situation is,
right?
And if you're somebody that's been in the mode where just getting the biggest and best returns you possibly get, my question would be, why? Like, what do you need that big return for? And do you understand how much risk you're taking to get that return?
Yeah, that's a great
and
point.
so if your retirement plan can work with 5, 6, 7% returns, that's the amount of risk you need to be taking to get those returns.
That's right.
If you need 5, 6, 7% and you're getting 15, great. I'm happy you're making money, but I want to make sure you understand that you're taking additional risk. That when the markets do turn over, you're going to see something that may affect you a lot more than you really realize.
So we're not saying anything bad about, I always call them the big box firms that focus on growth. I mean, we need growth.
Sure.
But there comes a point in your life, Bobby, where if you're stepping into retirement, growth is still important, but it might not be the most important thing.
Yeah, that's right. You got to have a goal, and that's usually, how much growth, if you're 5-10 years out from retirement, how much growth do I need to have in my assets to secure an income in retirement, right? If you're sitting there, you're going to pull 4% out of your portfolio a year, the old 4% rule, I think it's kind of broken. But you're getting 15, 16% a year the last couple of years, which is not unreasonable.
Yep.
And then it turns over, and that 15, 16% can turn to 15, 16% down in a hurry. Well, if you're using that as for income, you're in a bad spot.
So, Tim, do you think clients or folks in general have gotten a little spoiled? Because
I was just about to say that.
since 2008, 2009, our market's been on a run. So now it's almost a habit. We're going to get 8, 9, 10%. That's not always the case.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the history of the S&P 500 going back, 10, 20, 50 years, you're going to average somewhere around that 8 to 10% mark, right? Mm-hmm. But there's 10-year stretches where that's not necessarily true, right? And we've been such a booming market here recently. We've seen such big returns, and even the pullbacks that we've seen, like 2020 and 2022, have been, I hate to say minor, but in the big picture of things, they haven't been nearly.
It didn't seem like it when they were happening, but in hindsight, you're right.
Yeah,
they're a big deal.
They're slight setbacks to the plan, and not only were they much smaller pullbacks, they recuperated much quicker, and took off. I mean, 2008, and when that happens, you saw about a 60% loss from top to bottom, a little over that, and to get back to even, if you didn't touch it, didn't pull from it, took 5 years.
Took 5 years to get back to even, so you missed out on opportunities.
That's right. And if you were pulling money out during that time, it took you much longer.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was working with Bobby this morning on a client I have a call with right after the radio show, and they've done well, and they've got a lot of money in her 401k. And I looked at Bobby and said, "Do the math for me here. It makes no sense." Then Bobby figured it out. Tim, they're looking at pulling 16.5% out of the 401k to last for 7 years. But they're also, Bobby, you saw it, he's counting on an 8% return.
Yeah.
So in 3 years, when she retires, let's say the market is negative for 2 years in a row, that's going to that plan's not going to work.
Yeah, the sequence of turn risk got them, right?
Yeah.
And 8% a year, I don't think is an unreasonable assumption.
I don't either, but
if you're using that for
hoping,
income,
you're hoping.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
There's a whole other set of variables there.
Yeah.
Because if it's down 10 in the first year, which again is not an unreasonable thing for an 8% average rate of return over 7 years, you're going to miss out on a year or two of income on the back end of that plan.
Absolutely. I think that's, we've said the word 100 times in the show already today. It's plan. You got to have a plan. You got to be ready. Another conversation I had with this gentleman yesterday, talking about his 99-year-old mother, we were talking about his accounts. And I said, you got to have a buffer account. And he goes, what do you mean? What do you mean a buffer account? I said, well, that's our yellow bucket of money. It's for emergencies, but it's also that buffer account. If the market does go down 2 years in a row, instead of pulling money out of the market when it's down, you can pull money out of the buffer account, your cash account, to let that get back up, let it return. Like in 2022, for example, maybe you pulling money out of the buffer account instead of your investment accounts. Bobby, if you could give every American one piece of Social Security advice, what would it be?
Talk to a professional, right? Because Social Security seems so straightforward, but it's really not. You get the statement, go, I can get X at 62, I can get Y at full retirement age, or I can get Z at 70, and people look at it and generally pick the number that they think is best. Most people wait without professional advice, I would say. But if you need that money to spend, you're pulling from other assets, right? So you really need to sit down and talk to somebody about it, because once you file Social Security, it's
you're
pretty
done.
much done.
You're done.
And it can affect a lot of things. It can affect spousal benefits. It can affect survivor benefits. It can affect what you're pulling out of your retirement assets to make your cash flow work, right? And Gary, the number I used to. There's 500 and some odd ways to.
There's over 500 ways to file Social Security.
Yeah. That's nuts, right? and if you don't do it every day, how are you going to know what works best for you? And there's probably one or two that work out better than the other 498.
Yeah.
So you really need to sit down with somebody and kind of talk about what your particular situation is with Social Security.
So, Tim, someone filing Social Security, does that decision affect their taxes?
Yeah, it certainly can. It's really going to depend on what you're doing when you're doing it. And are you going to continue to work after age 62 before full retirement age? Are you going to pull that Social Security before full retirement age? Are you doing Roth conversions? Are you having 1099s from investment accounts or CDs? All that's going to matter. But that's part of the big picture plan that we've kind of put together for our clients here.
Yeah. I'd say the opposite is true as well, Gary. Taxes affect when you should take Social Security. Right?
Oh,
Because,
I like that.
Because if you're going to continue to work, to Tim's point, like you can get hammered taking Social Security too early.
Yeah, I agree.
It's really complicated to my point.
Real quick, I got a question for both of you. If you could go back and tell your younger self, give your younger self one tip for investing, Tim, I'm going to start with you. What tip would you give yourself, your 21, 22-year-old Tim McDermott?
Where are you going with this, Tim? I got an answer.
Could buy Apple,
This goes against every fiber of my being as a financial planner. Buy Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is I wouldn't know when to sell. So
Yeah,
I'd probably lose a bunch of money.
Something you would tell yourself?
No, I would make sure that I want to say that I would go back and invest young. I did actually, and I did very well.
Yeah, but you grew up in the industry.
Yeah, so I kind of had an idea and I knew better. And I did. I started investing in my 401k when I was 21, 22 years old. And I've never stopped, right? I think that was a great call. It worked out very well for me. But I would stress to myself how important it is to invest in other places at the same time.
I like that.
Yeah.
Non-qualified investments, ways to, don't necessarily buy the toy that was shiny and pretty at the time. And
Yeah, that's where I was going to jump to myself, because I had a pretty good job in my younger 20s. Buddy, I was spending some money, though. I was spending some. I loved motorcycles. I loved cars. And if I could go back and change that, that would be a big tip for me to tell myself, Bobby, you got anything?
Yeah, I'd say that was probably it. Remember, when you're younger, money's really tight. Mm-hmm. Even if it's in hindsight, it's not as tight as you thought it was. Yeah. In the moment, it certainly felt like that.
Yeah.
To just put something back.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's $10, $20 a month, right? You got to develop that habit. You got to work out that financial planning muscle.
Sure.
Right? Everybody wants to be strong. They go to the gym. Well, financial planning and financial responsibility is kind of the same way.
It sure is.
If you don't work on it, you're not going to grow it.
That's right. If you're hearing some questions that you've been asking yourself, or maybe you and your spouse have been sitting around and you've got these concerns going into retirement, are we going to have enough money? Do we have enough money? Are we going to have enough income to last us for the rest of our lives? What if one of us gets sick? What do we do about Medicare? When do we turn on Medicare? When do we plan for Medicare? These are all the things we do inside of our plan here at Guardian Investment Advisors. Come in and see Tim and Bobby. It's not going to cost you anything but a little bit of time. 423-710-9199. Go see Brogan in Knoxville, 865-951-7526. As always, we like to give out a copy of my book, Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. If you are watching us on Facebook or YouTube, you can click that QR code at the bottom of your screen, or go to plantodayoffer.com, plantodayoffer.com. Are those same numbers I just gave you? All you have to do is text the word book, 423-710-9199, 865-951-7526. When we come back, we're going to jump into more questions you might be asking yourself before you head into retirement. We'll be right back.
Every year, taxes are handled the same way. You earn income, the year ends, and you file a return. That trains us to look at taxes through a rearview mirror. Retirement taxes do not always work that way. Qualified retirement accounts are generally taxed based on future income decisions and future tax rates. Once those decisions are made, flexibility may be limited. That's why tax planning often works best when done proactively, before decisions are locked in. Visit plantodaytaxbill.com or scan the QR code to use our free tax calculator and see what that potential tax liability on your qualified retirement assets could look like based on your current assumptions.
Welcome back to Plan Today on Tomorrow. Garry Thurman, founder and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors. Again, the number here in Chattanooga, 423-710-9199. Knoxville, 865-951-7526. Give us a call. Come in and see us. Let's start making your plan today so you can retire happy tomorrow. That's our whole goal here at Guardian Investment Advisors. Bobby, estate planning. I think a lot of people feel or think that estate planning is only for the super wealthy. What would you say about that?
Yeah, I think that's a common misconception. Estate planning is for everybody. And you have an estate plan right now. Even if you don't have any documents, the state you live in has an estate plan for you, and it's oftentimes not what you want. So if you've got a spouse and some children, even if they're minors, right, they're all going to divide that up probably pretty evenly, according to the state of Tennessee. Georgia's the same way. And that causes a lot of issues. But what a lot of people overlook too in an estate plan is just not who gets your stuff. It's who helps care for you if you're incapacitated. So I'd say for younger folks, estate planning is important for the financial power of attorney and the medical, what they call an advanced directive right now.
Right.
It's the old will and medical power of attorney. There are things you need to do when you're younger and put in place, even if you don't have a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Because it's about a lot more than money, especially if you have kids.
But does everybody need a trust?
Not everyone needs a trust.
But everybody needs a will.
I'd say everybody needs a will. They need a financial power of attorney, and they need an medical advanced directive.
Everybody looks at all these laws that are in place, right? You look at the estate plan code, you look at the tax laws. There's over 7,000 pages of tax law, right? And they look at these and they think, look at all the advantages that the government has. Look at all these rules that the government has that don't work for me. Well, in reality, you've already have a plan. You have an estate plan. You have a tax plan. It's just not the one that you put together. It's the one the government put together for you. And those 7,000 pages of tax law are your benefit.
Yeah.
You just have to know how to use it to your benefit.
Like that.
Right?
I like that.
And it's part of what we do. We also work with your CPA to help with that. We'll refer you over to some attorneys and help you in that process to work with that. But use all that law in your advantage as much as possible.
I like that. Tim, let's focus on Gen Xers. That would be me, people my age. So there's a great wealth transfer going on, and it just started last year, and it's going to extend for the next 10, 15 years. We're over $80 trillion, $80 trillion with a T, dollars is going to be passed on to the Gen Xers out there. Should Gen Xers, take myself for example, should we know where our parents are, where their documents are? Should we know what their trust says, their will says? Do the Gen Xers need to be involved because of all this money that's about to be passed along?
It's hard for me to answer that, right?
Yeah,
probably to an extent. When we talk to most of our clients, some of them are okay with their kids knowing everything that's going on.
Right.
They even bring them to meetings sometimes, which I encourage. Some of them don't want their kids to know how much they have or how they're spending it because they don't want there to be some greed mixed in there. And money does funny things to people.
Sure does, yeah.
But it is good for you as the beneficiary to understand where you can go to find these things out.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times when we're working with clients, we're in that holistic approach. So we're helping them with just about everything under the sun, other than a savings account and maybe a checking account, right? They know that they can come over, see us. We'll be able to show them everything that's going on when that happens and help them process that complicated paperwork and everything when time comes. It's a huge concern that we have, and it's part of the reason that we're talking to everyone about doing these Roth conversions is because we know that when you inherit that money, you're going to be forced into a position where you may jack your tax rate, 2, 3, 4 brackets higher because you're going to be forced to. And so that is part of the plan that we're doing with boomers to make sure that Gen X isn't in that position.
And Bobby, someone, let's say in their 80s, and they've got a 60, 58, 55, 60-year-old son, daughter. Mom and dad's plan is probably not going to fit with your plan when you inherit that money.
Yeah, especially if it's pre-tax money.
Yeah.
Right. To Tim's point, you're going to have a whole lot of taxable income that comes in. But that's kind of the point I think you were making earlier is if your family dynamic is such that you can include your kids in that estate planning, do it. Right.
Yeah.
That makes it a lot easier because what a lot of people don't realize is when mom, dad pass away, right, kids are grieving, and also they have to handle all this financial administration when they die. Stuff, right? And that's the last thing they want to be doing is talking about mom and dad's money, right, when they've only been dead a week or two.
How many times have we sat across from mom and dad said, well, they're going to inherit all this money. I don't care if they pay the taxes. It's not a big deal. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm sure you'd rather your kids have it than Uncle Sam, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And when you run those numbers, it kind of wakes them up a little bit.
That's right.
Right? So, Bobby, let's stick with the Gen Xers for a few minutes. So, act like you're talking to me. What should Gen Xers be doing right now? I mean, let's say I'm not going to inherit a penny, by the way. Just not. That's just the way the dice have rolled for me. But a lot of people are going to inherit some money, but tax situations, everything else, they got great careers. They're already making good money.
Yep.
Mom and dad die after the second death. They got to take all this pre-tax money out in 10 years. I mean, they should start doing their homework now.
Yeah, you should really try to talk to your parents about that, kind of what it's going to look like. It kind of feels dirty to a lot of folks, though, right?
We're all going to die.
Hey, mom, dad. Hey, I want to make sure you don't inconvenience me when you die, right? That's sounds awful. I'll tell people a lot of times, hey, blame it on me. Blame it on me, Tim and Brogan, and say, hey, we're putting a financial retirement plan together for you. It matters what gets left and how it gets left. And so you can go, Mom, Dad, listen, my dirty financial planners wanted me to ask what happens after you die, right? And
that makes
that makes the conversation a lot easier. But it does really matter, right? Especially from a tax standpoint. So that's really the important part. And I often find that a lot of times people are open to have that conversation.
Oh, sure.
Because for mom and dad, it makes them think, hey, things are being taken care of and
That's
planned
right.
for. So it makes them feel better about their plan as well.
So, Tim, someone sets up a trust. I think one of the largest things you and I have seen, we've been working together for a long time, someone gets a trust set up, they don't fund the trust. Mm-hmm. Why is that happening?
It's one of the biggest mistakes in estate planning. You go out, you see an attorney, you spend $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 building out a trust package, and then you put nothing in the trust. Mm-hmm. The trust is now a really expensive paperweight.
It's just paper.
Yeah. You've got to fund it, meaning that the trust needs to own those assets or at the very least be the beneficiary of those assets. When you leave your attorney, they almost always give you a sheet of paper that says, structure your assets like this. And it will tell you what to do with that trust, where to put that beneficiary, who owns that asset, and it's up to you to go back and make sure that thing is done.
You got to fund it, right, Bobby?
Yeah,
I mean,
you almost always have homework when you leave an attorney's office.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Bobby, should tax planning be discussed every year with clients?
Yeah, without a doubt. Right. Sometimes not a lot changes from year to year. Other times a lot changes, and it makes a big difference. Especially right now when we're in a 2-year-ish window with the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. We're having tax planning conversations with our clients, pretty regularly, especially if you're in a position where you want to do Roth conversions. Mm-hmm. Because current income matters. What income tax bracket you're in matters. And for a lot of our clients, their income's not necessarily set every year.
That's
it's
right.
probably pretty close.
Yeah.
But we can't tell you can't tell us what your income's going to look like exactly next year. So we need to sit down and have that conversation.
Tim, someone retires with plenty of money, and I know we've seen these clients. Can they still have a bad retirement?
Yeah.
Money's not everything.
Yeah, and it's all going to depend on what you're trying to do with retirement, right? To the financial question of that, I've seen folks retire with a really good chunk of cash, and they just go on an overspending spree, and they put themselves in a bad, income to expense ratio, and then it means we have to tighten up on the back end, which no one ever wants to do. I've also seen folks retire with tons of money. They don't have to do anything, so they don't do anything. Yeah. And mentally, that is really hard on folks when you go from stimulating your brain every day and having a purpose to get out of bed every morning to nothing. That is what kills people faster than anything.
I love it. Having money is a great thing. We need money to retire. I have a funny saying, income is the outcome. Your lifestyle matters, and that's things, Bobby, we talk about all of that with our clients. We don't talk about just growth. We put a plan together around the lifestyle they want to live, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it looks different for everybody, right? You may not have big spending goals in retirement and hanging around the house, gardening or doing woodworking or whatever your hobby is, may be it. Other clients, they want to go and spend and travel and see grandkids and get an RV and
Travel the world?
Yeah.
I mean, we see everything.
Volunteer. We just got to figure out what that is for you and let us help you plan around it. Sure.
It's all about putting a plan together so that you can go into retirement. We have a funny saying, live every day like a Saturday. There's no alarm clocks. Get up and do what you want to do in retirement. That's what we want you to do. But the key there, what I just said, we want you to do what you want to do in retirement, not what somebody else wants you to do. We want you to have fun. We want you to have freedom. We want you to have a breathable retirement plan because guess what? Life happens. Things happen. Changes happen. That's why working with Tim and Bobby here in Chattanooga is so essential. Working with Brogan up in Knoxville. We're going to put a plan together for you so you don't have to worry about these things anymore, and you can enjoy every single day. You've worked 30, 40 years to build up for retirement. Don't go into retirement on hope. Go into retirement on a known number, on a known fact, and that's what we do here at Guardian Investment Advisors. Again, here in Chattanooga, 423-710-9199, Knoxville, 865-951-7526. Also, reach out and get a copy of my book, Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. You can scan that QR code at the bottom of your screen or go to plantodayoffer.com or text the word book to those same numbers, 423-710-9199, 865-951-7526. When we come back, I'm going to let you get to know Tim and Bobby a little bit better because I'm going to ask them some fun questions. And we are real people here at Guardian Investment Advisors, but we're going to find out some likes and dislikes about these gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Every year, taxes are handled the same way. You earn income, the year ends, and you file a return. That trains us to look at taxes through a rearview mirror. Retirement taxes do not always work that way. Qualified retirement accounts are generally taxed based on future income decisions and future tax rates. Once those decisions are made, flexibility may be limited. That's why tax planning often works best when done proactively, before decisions are locked in. Visit plantodaytaxbill.com or scan the QR code to use our free tax calculator and see what that potential tax liability on your qualified retirement assets could look like based on your current assumptions.
Welcome back to Plan Today on Tomorrow. Garry Thurman, thank you so much. Thank you. I said shank you. I meant thank you so much for joining us today. I was jumping ahead of the game there. Folks, I think you can tell Guardian Investment Advisors, we're passionate about what we do. We are a family, and we love working together, and we love working and helping our clients plan for today so you can own tomorrow. That's what this show's all about. We come each and every week to try to educate you on different topics when it comes to retirement planning. But listen, if you're someone out there younger, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, if you're a Gen Xer like me, come in and have a conversation with the guys. Let's start putting a plan together for you now so you can have an amazing future when it comes to retirement planning. If you've already retired and you think, hey, things are good, maybe get a second opinion on that. Let's make sure things are good for 30 years in retirement. That's the whole goal there. We don't want you to run out of money. And God forbid if you get sick, we want to help you out. Guys, let's have some fun here. All right, Bobby, let me start with you. If you were not a financial advisor, what would you be?
I would have probably joined the military. That was my
you wanted to be a pilot.
I wanted to be a pilot in the Navy. My dad was Navy, grew up on Navy bases.
You and Tom Cruise just soaring through the
Yeah, you would have been a Maverick, dude.
We're about the same height, too.
I know.
We're about the same height. I started exploring different options when my eyesight failed me as a kid. But hey, now I think you can have corrected vision and be a pilot. Yeah. Although I might be a little too old.
So we're going to lose Bobby as an advisor. He's going to join the Navy.
Yeah. I think I'm a little too old at this point for them to take me. But
Top Gun 3 starring
Top Gun
Bobby
3
Futch.
starring Bobby Futch. Tim, what about you? If you were not a financial advisor, I think I know the answer to this, but what would it be?
I would have been a mechanic.
Yeah.
I was a mechanic. I did it for about 5 years, starting in high school my junior year. Started then, and I worked it for a little while, and then everyday mechanics is tough. You're sweating in the summertime, you're busting your knuckles in the wintertime, and I enjoyed it, but I decided it was better as a hobby for me.
Yeah, but you do that because you love cars.
Yeah, cars, bikes, anything with a motor. I mean, anything with wheels, a motor, some things without wheels. I enjoy driving, working on, wrecking and fixing. And I mean, my dad got pissed at me when I was a kid because I took his lawnmower 4-wheeling back in the woods and then got it stuck. I just have a passion for that.
I love it. All right, Bobby, favorite movie?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. I'm not a big movie guy. I would have to say Tristan's looking at me. He's upset that I don't watch more movies. I have to say the one I watched most as a kid was that original Top Gun movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
See that
I
happen.
tried to get through the second one. I know this is going to be an unpopular.
I am going to
thing.
smack you across the table, man.
I don't know when the space plane came undone and he walked into a bar in Kansas and
That
a
was
space
awesome.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it, Gary.
That was in the first
I like when he
5
goes,
minutes.
I like
I know.
when, hey, where am I at? And the little boy goes, Earth.
Yeah. I hadn't finished the second one, but the first one as a kid was great. I watched it. God, it was probably 5 or 6 years ago. It was on television. I watched it with my dad.
How
who
you
was in
going to
the Navy.
know how to star in Top Gun 3 if you don't see
That's
Top
right.
Gun
know.
2?
I mean, come on, man.
And we kind of looked at it and went, yeah, the first one's kind of
I
cheesy
think
too,
I've
but it's
watched
awesome.
Maverick 6 or 7 times now.
I'd just sit down and give it a go. But
Yeah.
the space plane thing, I was like, okay.
It's incredible. Tim, what's your favorite movie?
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Oh, love that movie.
Nicolas Cage.
Oh, the second one.
Eleanor, who you named your daughter.
Yeah. Just a great movie. It's corny. If you watch it today, it looks
Still
terribly
awesome.
outdated.
It's still awesome.
But it's all about
You
cars.
seen the original one though? I think there was an old school.
This is the
There's an old school one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're very old school. And yeah. Bobby, favorite? I know you're not big into sports, but what's your favorite sports team?
I was born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, so I'd still have to say the Jaguars. It's been a rough go. We had a couple good years in the last couple years.
You got a
but
great system down there right now.
yeah, I remember when I was a kid and doing extra chores so I could stay up and watch the late Sunday games when I was a kid. Like, I had good memories following the Jacksonville Jaguars. So
Oh, I
gotta
love
stay
it.
with
Tim,
them.
what about you? Favorite sports team?
Yeah, I'm not a huge sports guy. I don't like. Here's the thing. I don't like to watch sports. I've played just about everything from lacrosse to baseball to football, hockey. I've put a hand in every sport that's out there, and I think I have some natural talent for it. But to sit me in front of a TV and watch it drives me nuts. I don't want to watch it. I want to go do it. With that being said. We did grow up as NC State fans. In the Raleigh area, Wolfpack back in Phillip River days.
Oh, yeah. Good times back in the days. I love that. Bobby, what's your favorite restaurant? It doesn't have to be in Chattanooga.
That's a good question. There's a little restaurant on my side of town in Red Bank called Old Man Rivers.
So good.
It's a great little restaurant. The guy that owns it, his name is Rivers. Shout out, he's not paying me to say this, although he could, right? Rivers, give me a dollar. When we first moved into Chattanooga,
See if he'll sponsor the show.
yeah, a cool story real quick is when we first moved into town,
cool guy.
I went to a little German restaurant in North Shore, picked up food for my family coming home, and he was my waiter.
Wow.
And one of the first things he said to me was, hey, Rivers, I'm opening my own restaurant. And me being... I basically said, sure, buddy. Well, good luck with that, right? And then he happened to open this awesome restaurant not 2 miles from my house. So Mountain Creek Road, Old Man Rivers, awesome place.
I
If
love
he's
it.
listening,
Be prepared to wait though.
you
Because
should at
it's a
least get an appetizer on.
Yeah,
on
you
TV,
should.
know.
Yeah. Tim, do you have a favorite restaurant?
I've got a handful of favorite restaurants in Chattanooga area. Probably my go-to is Main Street Meats.
Love it.
that place downtown.
Love it.
It's fantastic. Maple and Ash out in Phoenix, Arizona is
Oh, my
amazing.
gosh.
Hard to get past. And believe it or not, there's a hole-in-a-wall restaurant down in Jacksonville, Florida that does really good, authentic ramen, and it's just phenomenal.
Tim, what's the restaurant that I loved in Jacksonville where we'd go get that fresh fish? They'd catch it, bring it in every single day.
Is that Captain D's?
The
What,
one on
Captain
the
D's?
one on the water, right?
The one on the water.
Over there in Mayport?
I believe it's called Dockside. No.
Yes, Dockside, that was it.
It used to be. In fact, the forget the one called Mayport, but the owners of the one in Mayport partnered with Dockside originally.
Oh my gosh!
And then the new owners bought
And
them
what
out.
was the fish?
Triggerfish.
Trigger-
If you've
oh
never had
my-
triggerfish,
And they
amazing.
blackened it.
Yeah.
Oh man!
Grilled-
Like every time I was in Jacksonville to see Tim, I'm like, we're going there.
Grilled blackened triggerfish it's fantastic over there.
That's cool.
So between the two of you, who is most likely to forget their password?
I don't remember any of my passwords.
I was about to say.
They're
Hey,
all not
I'm so glad I have
Yeah.
this little guy right here because it remembers everything.
I think we'd fight on that, but yeah, we have to use password systems because we've got so many in our business.
All right, between the two of you, who would order dessert?
Not me.
I guess that means me. I'm pretty picky about it, though. I'm an old school cheesecake guy. If there's cheesecake on the menu, I'm probably giving in.
Okay, I like that. Who would take the longest vacation? I think this is a great question.
In Alaska?
I don't know.
Okay, let's reference that. Who would take the longest vacation without their children?
Oh,
that's a little tough.
I think I win this one as the shortest vacation, right? Because mine's 4 months old and I can't legally be away
right.
from them that long.
But you have 7 years of experience to go from on June, right?
True.
I'm gonna say I probably would,
Does this include our?
I was leaning Tim on that one.
That's probably true.
because I don't mind being in the woods by myself for 2
Yeah.
weeks.
I'm not going to ask. I'm going to say this question, but don't answer it because I know the answer. Watch golf all weekend. Neither one of you.
Yeah, no.
Watch sports all weekend. Neither one of you.
Yeah.
Who would get lost without GPS?
All right, so I have a pretty good sense of direction.
Same.
I have a pretty good sense of direction. There's 2 places I lose my sense of direction. Riverside and Jacksonville, Florida. Don't know why. Can't figure that place out for the life of me. And on a golf course. I have no idea which way I'm facing. Other than that, I think I can figure my way out of anywhere.
Yeah, I think
love it.
I need some more. Can I get to where I'm going without a GPS? Absolutely. May it take me a couple extra turns if I don't have one? Maybe. But I'll figure it
I had
out.
to pick on Tristan, who's taking care of all of our audio and visuals right now.
Yeah.
But I remember he texted me one time. He was coming to my house and said, "Gary, Waze says I'll be there in 13 minutes." I went, "You actually put in my address to get to my house?"
It's 2 turns, Tristan.
All right, real quick, Tim. What's something clients would never guess about you?
Mm.
I have an answer. You're an exceptional cook.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I mean, I look like it.
You are a really good cook, but if you have another answer.
No, that's probably a pretty good one. I don't talk about it a ton, but I love to cook. I love to try new things, and I actually just got the subscription package of ChatGPT, and I'm trying to organize my really good recipes.
Your menus and recipes.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. That's great. Bobby, what's something clients don't know about Bobby the Futch?
That's a tough question.
I would say that probably nobody before today knew that he wanted to be a pilot.
That's true.
That's one.
It's still something I think about every once in a while, right? Obviously, they probably won't let me in a jet, but flying a plane around would be pretty cool.
I think something maybe a lot of people don't know about you, Bobby, me knowing you personally, is how much you love to be outdoors and fish and hunt and things like that, because that's one of your biggest passions.
Yeah, I prefer to be outside anytime I can get outside. And it doesn't really matter what it is if it's outside.
Yeah.
I'll
I
give it a
think
whack.
most clients know that I love to play golf.
Sure.
I think most folks know what my favorite sports team is. I make it pretty obvious out there. I think one thing maybe people don't know about me is I like to study wine. Wine is so interesting to me, and how it's made, and like hearing the stories and older stories, the European wines versus the American wines. That's I don't know. It's always fascinating
Some
me
pretty cool history to that.
because
It's been around
that's
a long
science.
time, right?
That's
Yeah.
science, and I love it. But that's just something that maybe not a lot of people know about me personally. Look, we just had some fun on that last segment, but maybe you got to know Tim and Bobby a little bit better, and myself as well. But the first part of our show, we're really talking about getting you set up for retirement in the right way. If you are concerned about retirement, you're concerned about where you're going to be in the future or where you're at right now post-retirement, give us a call, 423-710-9199. Come in and see Bobby and Tim. Absolutely free. It's just going to cost you a little bit of time. Go see Brogan, 865-951-7526. And as always, you can scan and get a copy of my book. You can scan the QR code if you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook, or simply go to plantodayoffer.com, and we'll send the book right out to you. Thanks for joining us on Plan Today on Tomorrow. We'll be back next week with more fun retirement talk. We'll see you then. Take care.